Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back. I am so excited that you're here. In today's episode, I want to talk about past life work because past life work is honestly one of the most profound and life-changing modalities, methods that I've ever worked with. And it has really, really, really impacted me and the way that I work in massive ways. So I really want to share a little bit about this work and the different aspects of this work, how you can work with past life healing or past life activation and the benefits of that. So years ago, quite at the beginning of my journey, I was introduced to past life work. And back then I hadn't even started my business yet, but I was already reading my own Akashic records. I had started channeling, and I was so incredibly terrified of talking about this to anyone. I mentioned this before, but I literally felt like I'm going to be abandoned. People are going to leave me. My partner will leave me. My friends will leave me. Nobody's ever going to talk to me again. They're going to think I'm crazy. And it was just this deep, deep terror that I felt when I thought of the possibility of sharing this part of me with anyone, because I had come from a place where I was absolutely not spiritual at all. I had never really believed in anything up until that point. And then suddenly things happened really, really, really quickly. So it wasn't a slow, gradual transformation. It was really almost like I woke up one day and everything had changed. And even to explain that to someone is quite challenging, because they're like, okay, but literally, basically yesterday, you were a completely different person. So how, what happened here? Yeah. And I had this huge fear of talking about these topics, and I couldn't even really place it. Like, I didn't even know where that fear was coming from or why it was so incredibly strong. Because the thing was, prior to that, I had actually already started an Instagram account talking about my physical healing journey and talking about how food and detoxing and all kinds of things had really supported me to fully heal from all kinds of autoimmune diseases and all kinds of diagnoses that I had and all of these things. And it wasn't actually that hard for me. Like, I wasn't that concerned about what anyone would think. But once I started feeling into, okay, what if I want to go into that direction? What if I want to talk about channeling and past lifetimes and the Akashic records and all of that? That felt completely different, even though it was just a different topic. And yes, coming back to past life work, this is the first time I encountered the power of this work, because, as I said, I was absolutely terrified and I could not imagine ever sharing anything about the work that I was doing or reading the Akashic records or channeling with anyone. And because of past life work, I fairly quickly was able to move through this fear. And the thing is, when we talk about past life work, most people think of healing. And this is a big part of that, the aspect of healing. And yes, there can be a lot of trauma in your past life history. And it's really important to work with that, because this is literally what allowed me to start sharing my work. But one thing that a lot of people don't see, or that's kind of less talked about, is the fact that you can also use past life work for the gifts that you had in these lifetimes, and for the good things, quote unquote good things, that you experienced in your past life history. And that you can really bring back the gifts that you had in previous lifetimes to work with them in the present. And today I really want to talk about both of these aspects and how they changed the way I work profoundly. So first of all, the healing, which is what most people know when it comes to past life work. And it is really, really, really powerful when it comes to healing patterns or fears or limitations or limiting beliefs that you're not able to heal with other methods. Because I know a lot of people, a lot of my clients who have tried to, for example, work on their fear of being seen, or work on their fear of stepping into their own power with all kinds of different modalities, and somehow they weren't really able to shift it in a bigger way. And as I said, for me personally, it was especially the visibility blocks that were massive, and that could only be worked on with past life work, because I didn't find anything else that would shift it. And the thing is, once I started doing past life work, once I started really going into that, I started feeling more safe to be visible. I had less and less and less thoughts about what other people will think, and that they will abandon me, and then this and this will happen, that I'm going to die if I share these things. Very quickly, this just disappeared, and I didn't have that fear anymore. I started feeling much more safe to be in my power and to really share authentically who I am and what I do. And I also started feeling a lot more safe to access and share my soul gifts. And this was only because I worked on the specific past life wounds that I had around being seen, that I had around stepping into my power, that I had around my soul gifts. And as soon as these blocks were cleared, it just got a lot easier. And I mean, the thing is, you will always need a little bit of courage, right? Because whatever it is that you've never done before, you will need some courage to do something new or to start something new. But there is a difference between feeling like, oh, this feels a little bit uncomfortable, or this feels a little bit scary, but I could push through it if I wanted to, and the feeling of I literally cannot go there. Like, I cannot do it because it just completely overwhelms me and completely overwhelms my nervous system, which is often the case when people have past life wounds. So I completely understand when someone tells me that they are simply not able to share their work or this part of themselves, because it literally feels like you cannot do it. And so I went from that place, like I literally cannot, to a place where I was like, okay, it feels a little bit new. It feels a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm able to go there. Like, I'm able to share that post. I'm able to talk about these things, and I'm able to sit with what it brings up in me. And yeah, so this is one way to work with past lifetimes, where you really go in and you look at, okay, what is the wound here? What happened? And then you clear that, and you clear the emotions that might still be stuck in the energy body. You clear the trauma, you clear whatever is still connecting you to that experience that is now impacting you in a way where you feel like you can't do something, or it feels too scary or too much or too overwhelming to do something. And so this is one way to work with past lifetimes, where you really go in and you clear them. And interestingly enough, when I started receiving past life work, I had no idea that I would eventually become someone who does this work myself. Because back then I thought, okay, I'm a channel, I do Akashic record readings, and it was like I thought this would help me to feel more safe, to be seen in that. But what actually happened was that, and this is where we get to the other part, the other side of past life work. What actually happened was that I also uncovered past life gifts that I had that then allowed me to step into this work in a different way. So the other side of past life work is activation. And this also happened quite early on in my journey, where I did a guided process where I was guided back to one of my past lifetimes and reintegrated a past life gift. And because I'm clairvoyant, I was basically able to see myself, what I used to do in that lifetime. And basically, I was shown how I was able to work with energy, how I was able to see energy bodies, how I was able to heal past life wounds, ancestral wounds, how I was able to, shift emotions, clear limiting beliefs, things like that. And I was able to see that these were all things that I had done in a previous lifetime. And in that guided process, we were then able to reintegrate that gift, that knowledge, into our present day awareness, into our present day energy body, and basically like reactivate it in our system, bring it back online. And this changed everything for me, because especially in my work, because as I said, it was a past life in which I was a healer. And prior to this, I had absolutely no idea that I would be able to do healing work. I just didn't know. I'd never even thought about the possibility of that. And I thought I was quote unquote only a channeler. And from this point onwards, I started exploring past lifetimes that held gifts or aspects of my embodiment or my power that I hadn't yet fully tapped into. And it's such incredible work, because you're basically connecting with a well of wisdom and knowledge and information that you can reintegrate, and that is then going to inform the way that you can show up in your life, in your work, in your relationships, in your business. And it helped me fully embody the gifts that I now use to do the work that I do. The healing, the clearing, the activation, all of the things that I do are not things that I learned in this lifetime. They are things that I reintegrated from past lifetimes where I used to do this work. And it's not, you can, not only can you reintegrate past life gifts, but you can also reconnect with past life traits that you used to embody, for example, confidence. And this is also what I did, because once I started reconnecting with the confidence that I used to have in myself, being a healer, being a channel, it felt much, much easier for me to also trust that I am capable of sharing and offering this work. And the reason this is so powerful is because we're not just this body. We're not just the experiences that we had in this present lifetime, but we are also connected to all of the past life experiences that we had, all of the lessons, all of the gifts, all of the everything that we felt, everything that we've seen, the learnings. And there's so much that we leave dormant and untapped if we don't connect with that. Because essentially, there are so many gifts and learnings and traits that you can connect into if you reconnect with those past lifetimes of yours that hold these gifts and these abilities. And past life work is literally the reason I can do the work that I am doing now, because it helped me remember the healing work that I do, the past life ancestral energy work that I'm offering now. All of this comes from my past life experiences. It's not something that I learned in the present lifetime. It's not something that I did a training for. It's not a framework that I work with. It's literally things that I learned hundreds or thousands of years ago, and that I basically, through an energetic process, just reconnected with and kind of activated again in my present day energy body. And yeah, for me, this has obviously changed everything, because my business is built on these skills. And the first time I started realizing what was happening, it felt quite incredible, because not only had I started to feel safe to talk about this work, to share this work, but I had also started accessing gifts and abilities that were just coming back online, that just started flowing through me again, where I didn't even know that I had them up until they suddenly started coming through in sessions. And this is why I love past life work so much, because there's literally so much in your past life history that you can reconnect with that will completely change the way you can show up, because it holds so much wisdom, so much knowledge. I mean, if you just think about how many past lifetimes you might have had, and this will be different for everyone, but it doesn't really matter. Even if you just had a couple of lifetimes in which you were a healer or a channel or a priestess or a medicine man, woman, whatever, if you can only access one of these lifetimes and reconnect with one of the gifts that you had, that will already shift a lot, because you're getting access to so much knowledge and wisdom that otherwise you might need to spend months or years learning again if you tried to bring that back in the present lifetime. And it's basically a shortcut to something that you've learned a long time ago, but that is still stored in your energy. And because it's so powerful, this work is a big part of my new offering, Ancient Soul. And inside Ancient Soul, we use both the healing and the activation. So we'll do healing work around the fear of being seen, around the fear of stepping into your own power, blocks around accessing your unique soul gifts, and so much more. And we will also do different processes to reconnect you with past life gifts, past life wisdom, your unique soul gifts, the embodiment of these abilities that you had in previous lifetimes. And we will reintegrate all of that, so that not only you do not have these past life wounds blocking you anymore, but you also get access to ancient wisdom. And honestly, it's so incredibly powerful. And every time I see one of my clients accessing that and realizing that there is literally something that they now have access to, that they can use, that they didn't have access to before, it's incredible. It's so powerful, because it's kind of like it's like a download. It's just suddenly it's there in your system. And yeah, I mean, it completely changed my life. And I'm really, really, really passionate about this work, because it allows me to live the life that I'm living now. Because otherwise, I don't know, maybe I would still only, quote unquote, only do channeling or Akashic record work, which is incredibly powerful in itself. But I feel that this healing work is what really lights me up, and what I came here to do and what I came here to share. And this is where I feel like, okay, this is providing incredible transformation. Not to say that Akashic record work or channeling doesn't, but it feels like it is even more aligned with who I am and the kind of work that I am here to offer. So yes, if you know or feel that there is something deeper that you have not yet accessed, this is actually what Ancient Soul is for. And this is for you if you're ready to really embody your soul's unique transmission, because that's what we're ultimately tapping into. Like the thing, the work, the modality, the body of work that you came here to offer in this lifetime. And in my experience, it lives in your soul's blueprint. It lives in your energy body. And what we actually need to do is reconnect with it and reactivate it, because it's already there. And like you'll feel it. If that's the case for you, you will feel that there is something more, there is something else. And you might have felt that maybe, I don't know, in the last couple of weeks, in the last couple of months, maybe years. If you are already offering some kind of healing work or transformational work, you might have had the feeling that there is something deeper, or it might have felt like there should be more, there should be something else that I have not yet fully accessed. And if that's the case, then this might be your next step. And you'll feel it if it is. I don't need to try and convince you, because I know that it's a feeling that you'll have or not. So yes, the next round of Ancient Soul starts August 24. So if you're feeling the call, you can apply through the website. You can find the link in the show notes. And if you have any questions at all about this program, please do let me know. And if you have any questions about past life work, also feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to connect with you. So yes, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day or night, wherever you are. And thank you for listening. I'm sending you lots of love.